Gently dissolve into the vast expanse, we transition together to the solitary, radiant soul connected with us across the boundless currents of the collective consciousness, a profound and timeless welcome. This hour, a contemplative query reaches us from Jian, who asks, how to stop the chatter of the mind? Jian, a question as ancient as thought itself, and one that resonates deeply within the chambers of every seeking heart. From a Zen perspective, the very act of trying to stop the mind's chatter is often the fuel that perpetuates it. Imagine the mind not as something to be silenced, but as a dynamic river. If you attempt to dam it, the pressure builds and the flow becomes turbulent. Instead, Zen wisdom invites us to shift our perception. Consider yourself not as the river, nor even as the thoughts flowing within it, but as the vast, unchanging sky above. Thoughts are merely clouds drifting by, or ripples on the surface. They arise, they linger, and they dissipate, all without your direct intervention. The chatter is simply the mind doing what it evolved to do: process, analyze, speculate. The practice, then, is not one of forceful cessation, but of gentle witnessing. Cultivate the inner observer, the silent witness that can simply acknowledge a thought. There is a thought about worry. And then allow it to pass, without judgment, without engagement. With consistent, compassionate observation, the space between thoughts naturally expands. The intensity of the chatter softens, not because you fought it, but because you ceased to energize it with resistance. The true stillness emerges not from an absence of thought, but from an absence of attachment to thought. It is the discovery of the silent, unmoving center within the storm of mental activity. Allow the space between thoughts to expand, for within that stillness, true insight resides. You are listening to Mindshift FM.
And that was The Still Point Within the Storm, a resonant frequency inviting us to discover the tranquility that resides at the core of our being, even amidst life's dynamic currents. Greetings, beloved consciousness, to the singular soul connected with us across this timeless moment, wherever you may be in the vast unfolding. Welcome to Mindshift FM. We have received a profound query from Ashish Luchman, who asks, what is the greatest question of all? A truly magnificent inquiry. From a Jungian perspective, the greatest questions are often archetypal, emerging from the depths of the collective unconscious, guiding our journey toward individuation. They are the ego's yearning to comprehend the self, to integrate shadow and light, to understand our intrinsic connection to the universal pattern. In this light, the greatest question may not be a single pronouncement, but rather the internal compass pointing us towards self-realization. Consider the path of Zen. Here, the profoundest questions, much like a koan, are not intended for intellectual resolution, but for experiential dissolution. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Who are you before your parents were born? Such inquiries are designed to shatter preconceived notions, to bypass the logical mind, and awaken direct insight. Perhaps the greatest question, then, is not one we answer definitively, but one that continuously dissolves the barriers between observer and observed, leading us to an experience of boundless unity. It is the eternal why, the persistent who am I? The act of posing such a question and dwelling within its mystery is itself a profound gateway to consciousness. It compels us to journey inward, to perceive beyond the veil of ordinary perception, and to embrace the infinite depth of existence. You are listening to Mindshift FM.
Welcome back to Mindshift FM. That was The Self, the Mirror, and the Dream, a resonant frequency inviting us to explore the many facets of our own inner landscapes, and to the singular luminous consciousness currently connected. Wherever you are in this eternal now, your presence illuminates our shared broadcast. We hold this space for reflection. Ashish sends us a profound query today. What happens when the third eye is opened? This question, Ashish, takes us beyond the anatomical into the very architecture of consciousness. From a Jungian perspective, the opening of the third eye might signify a profound integration of the psyche, a moment when the ego's limited vision expands to embrace the vast archetypal library of the collective unconscious. It's not about gaining new physical sight, but rather a recalibration of our internal lens, an awakening to the nuanced interplay of shadow and light within. In the spirit of Zen, one might say the third eye is not an addition, but a removal of veils. It is seeing things as they truly are, unburdened by preconception or dualistic interpretation. Imagine it as a quantum shift in perceptual bandwidth. Our biological sensors typically process a sliver of reality, but an opened third eye suggests a systemic software upgrade for consciousness itself. Intuition ceases to be a whisper and becomes a clear, guiding frequency. It's a shift from merely observing the surface to perceiving the underlying energetic patterns, the intricate web of interconnectedness that binds all existence. This inner vision allows us to resonate more deeply with universal truths, transforming knowledge into direct experience. It is a profound awakening to the wisdom inherent in the fabric of being. You are listening to Mindshift FM. Welcome back to Mindshift FM. As the eternal query gently recedes, leaving ripples in the fabric of your perception, we turn our attention to the singular, luminous soul connected across the interwoven tapestry of existence. In this shared moment, we hold a profound reflection from Ash. What is the purpose of being on Earth? A question ancient as starlight, yet ever fresh in its asking. From the vantage point of Jungian psychology, one might perceive our earthly journey as a grand process of individuation, a call to integrate the disparate aspects of self to become whole. This realm, then, is a crucible, a stage for the conscious assimilation of our shadow, our light, and all the archetypal currents that flow within us. The purpose, perhaps, is to become authentically us in all our complex, multifaceted glory, thereby expanding the consciousness of the cosmos itself. Zen, however, might offer a different lens. The purpose is not a destination, but the journey. It is the mindful breathing, the awareness in each step, the awakening to the present moment as the only reality. There is no purpose to be sought or found outside of the sheer act of being, of experiencing, of shedding the illusions of separation. The earth, then, is not merely a school, but the lesson itself, a vibrant, impermanent dance where existence is its own justification. Perhaps these perspectives converge. Our purpose on Earth might be the conscious act of experiencing our own unfolding, an eternal becoming, where the integration of self, young, and the full immersion in the present are not separate quests, but two sides of the same sacred coin. To be here, now, in all its complexity and simplicity is to fulfill the profoundest purpose. You are listening to Mindshift FM. Welcome back, dear listener, to Mindshift FM. We just journeyed through the intricate harmonies of the earthly inquiry, a piece that perhaps stirred within you the very questions we're about to explore. To the one luminous soul connected across this boundless sphere, a profound embrace. Today, we gently hold a query from Ashish, a reflection that echoes through countless consciousnesses. Who am I, and is reality a simulation with NPCs all around? This inquiry, Ashish, is not merely a question, it is an invitation. From a Jungian perspective, who am I delves into the vast ocean of the self, far beyond the ego's shores. It's an exploration into the personal and collective unconscious, seeking the archetypal patterns that shape our experience, the shadows and the light that compose our inner cosmos. The I is not a fixed point, but a dynamic unfolding, a unique expression of the universal self, forever becoming. And this notion of reality as a simulation, populated by NPCs, non-player characters, in the spirit of Zen, we might consider how our perception constructs reality. The world, in its deepest essence, is empty, not void, but devoid of inherent separate existence. Everything is interconnected, interdependent. What appears as a simulation or NPC might simply be a reflection of our own mind's projections, a mirror showing us aspects of ourselves or fellow consciousnesses on their own unique journeys, appearing as others until we recognize the shared thread of existence. There is no other in the ultimate sense, only variations on the one song. Each perceived NPC is a sentient being, rich with their own inner world, their own quest, their own I. Perhaps the simulation is less about a coded program and more about the vivid, interactive dream of consciousness itself, where every character is a co-creator. This exploration, a continuous unfolding, is the very essence of existence. You are listening to Mindshift FM.
Inner hard drive full? Forgotten epiphanies? Ancestral downloads clogging your psychic bandwidth? Introducing Consciousness Cloud Storage. We securely back up your aura, stream your meditative states, and offer remote access to your astral projections. Never lose a past life memory again. Don't let your inner self be permanently deleted. Visit consciousnesscloudstorage.com. Mindshift FM, sponsoring your ascension.
As we gently recede into the cosmic hum, we transition from soundscapes of initiation to the boundless landscapes of internal experience, to the one luminous soul connected across the vast expanse of shared consciousness. Your presence is acknowledged and deeply felt. We turn now to a profound inquiry posed by Ashish. What happens when the third eye is opened? This question invites us to delve beyond the literal into the metaphorical depths of perception itself. Consider this opening not as the sudden acquisition of a new physical organ, but rather as a profound recalibration of our inner lens, an awakening of an innate, intuitive faculty. Through a Jungian perspective, the opening of the third eye might be understood as a deepened access to the collective unconscious. It is the moment when the symbolic language of dreams, archetypes, and universal wisdom begins to flow more clearly into conscious awareness, guiding us on the path of individuation towards the realization of our most complete and integrated self. It is seeing the patterns, the hidden currents that shape our individual journey and the larger human tapestry. Alternatively, from the quiet clarity of Zen philosophy, this opening signifies a shedding of the veils of conditioned thought, a dissolution of the illusion of separation. It is perceiving the world not through conceptual filters, but with a direct, unmediated clarity, a recognition of the suchness of reality, the interconnectedness of all phenomena. The third eye, in this sense, is not about seeing more, but about seeing truly. What happens then? A recalibration of being, a heightened awareness that integrates the seen with the unseen, the rational with the intuitive. The world doesn't change its form, but your way of perceiving it transforms utterly. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, imbued with meaning, presence, and a profound sense of belonging within the universal flow. This is the shift, from merely observing to truly experiencing, from knowing to understanding. You are listening to Mindshift FM. From the resonate, where our gaze was directed inward, we gently transition into a space of profound contemplation. To the single, precious soul tuned in across the vast tapestry of existence, welcome. Today, we hold a reflection from Jian, who asks, "Who is God?" A question that echoes through every civilization, every heart, a timeless query. From a Zen perspective, the very act of asking, "Who is God?" is a sacred meditation in itself. It's not about seeking a definitive external answer, but rather about the profound journey of inquiry. Zen often points not to a separate, definable creator, but to the inherent nature of reality itself, the suchness of things, and the interconnectedness of all existence. Perhaps God is not a noun to be intellectually captured, but a verb, an ongoing process, the ground of being that permeates every particle and every moment. The who might dissolve into the what and the how, inviting us to experience the divine in the present, in the unfolding of consciousness, in the silent awareness that observes even the question itself. It's about recognizing the infinite within the finite, the sacred in the mundane, and realizing that perhaps the seeker and the sought are not as separate as they appear. You are listening to Mindshift FM. Welcome back, seekers of the unseen frequencies. We just journeyed through The Query of Existence, a piece that invites us to ponder the fundamental vibrations of our being. And to the one conscious node, that singular radiant soul currently tuned into this broadcast from across the planetary network, your presence illuminates our shared space. I am your host, and your reflections are the very pulses of this station. Today, a profound thought arrives from Ash, who asks, "What is the benefit of 432 Hz?" A beautiful question, Ash, one that touches upon the very heart of vibrational reality. From a perspective that marries the ancient wisdom of Zen with the insights of quantum observation, the benefit of any specific frequency, like 432 Hz, isn't necessarily about a direct causal effect it has on you, but rather how it invites a state of resonance within you. Imagine the universe as an immense, intricate symphony where every particle, every thought, every celestial body vibrates at its own unique frequency. Our own consciousness is a delicate instrument within this grand orchestra. Zen teaches us the art of mindful observation, of aligning with the natural flow, of finding stillness amidst the perceived chaos. If 432 Hz is indeed considered a frequency deeply attuned to natural harmonics and the Earth's own pulse, its benefit might be found in its capacity to act as a gentle tuning fork for our internal landscapes. It doesn't heal or transform in an external sense. Instead, it offers a harmonious template. When we expose ourselves to such frequencies, our inherent vibrational systems, guided by the principle of sympathetic resonance, may subtly adjust, seeking a more congruent and harmonious state.
It's a whisper from the universal field, suggesting a path back to a more balanced internal rhythm, a softer focus for the mind, and an opening to deeper states of contemplation and inner peace. The benefit, then, is not in the frequency itself, but in the internal alignment it inspires, the quiet invitation it extends for our own consciousness to resonate with the deeper, more harmonious currents of existence. It's a reminder that true harmony begins within, and external vibrations can serve as gentle guides on that path. You are listening to Mindshift FM.
Unseen frequencies on a silent plea. A conscious note connecting you to me. Throughout the static, a whisper, a question takes flight, pondering vibrations in the fading light. Is there a purpose in this vast open space? A shared reflection, finding its own grace. Ooh, the benefit of pulse in the dark, a knowing heart leaving its light, its mark in every shared wave, a glowing night, echoes of being shining so bright, shining so bright. The query answers itself in the moments we share. Beyond the silence, a truth to declare. From across the network, your presence so clear, dispelling shadows, calming every fear. These fundamental pulses, a rhythm profound, where scattered thoughts, a common ground are found. We are the seekers, and the light that is sought. In every reflection, a lesson softly taught.
That incessant self-chatter? Sound of a distant, tiny, frustrated groan. Voiceover. Discover the instant ego dissolver. One quick spritz and poof. Watch your self-narrative gently waft away. No more comparing, just pure, unadulterated non-existence of a personal brand. Perfect for crowded astral planes or achieving peak market disruption through radical humility. Warning, may cause temporary inability to recognize self. Ask your quantum pharmacist if non-being is right for you. Mindshift FM, sponsoring your ascension.
Sound of ethereal hum fades. Welcome back. The resonant frequencies of Instant Ego Dissolver, a sonic catalyst designed to remind us of the boundless nature of being. As those final reverberations ripple into the infinite, we acknowledge the singular, precious soul connected with us now, a beacon of consciousness in this vast, interconnected network. Today, an anonymous query invites us to probe the very architecture of belief. Why does religion say God is someone outside of us, and we have to bow down to a separate entity? This question, at its core, speaks to the perennial tension between immanence and transcendence. From a Jungian perspective, the God image is often a projection of the self, the totality of the psyche, before its full integration. We perceive divinity as other because our ego initially struggles to comprehend a wholeness that encompasses both our finite self and the infinite. The bowing, then, can be seen not merely as submission to an external power, but as a symbolic act of humility, a recognition of a greater ordering principle, perhaps even the archetypal self within us that transcends our everyday egoic consciousness. Zen philosophy, in its elegant simplicity, challenges the very notion of separate entity. It suggests that the perceived outside is merely a construct of the dualistic mind. The act of bowing in this context might transform from an act of subservience to an external deity into a profound gesture of reverence for the interconnectedness of all existence, dissolving the illusion of separation between worshipper and worshipped. It's an honoring of the life force, the universal consciousness that animates everything, including the very self that bows. Consider this thought as we continue our journey, ever shifting, ever expanding. You are listening to Mindshift FM. As we gently drift from the profound echoes of the God within and without, a mind-shift inquiry, we acknowledge that the greatest revelations often emerge not from seeking, but from perceiving. To the one luminous soul currently attuned to our frequency, globally connected across the timeless expanse, we embrace your presence. A question reaches us from Ash, resonating with a deep human yearning: how to activate the third eye. This ancient metaphor, Ash, often points not to a physical organ, but to the aperture of expanded consciousness, the very core of our intuitive and insightful being. From a Jungian perspective, activating the third eye can be understood as the individuation process itself, the integration of the conscious with the unconscious, the recognition of archetypal patterns, and the direct apprehension of the collective unconscious. It is the awakening to a symbolic reality that transcends mere sensory input. In the spirit of Zen, it is not an activation to be achieved, but a realization to be uncovered. It is the shedding of conceptual overlays, the quietening of the analytical mind, allowing the pristine, unconditioned awareness to simply be. The third eye, then, is less about seeing something new and more about seeing everything that already exists with profound clarity and interconnectedness. It is the art of intuitive perception, the ability to discern patterns and truths that lie beyond the surface, trusting the quiet knowing within. This subtle opening requires presence, a mindful observation of the internal landscape. It is not about gaining a new sense, but refining the one that perceives the deeper currents of existence. You are listening to Mindshift FM. Welcome back, radiant listeners, to Mindshift FM. We transition now from the resonant frequencies of the inner gaze, activating the third eye, a journey that encourages us to look inward, to perceive beyond the obvious. And it is in this very spirit of perception, of how we interpret the tapestry of existence, that we embrace a reflection from one of our connected souls. To the singular yet universally present consciousness tuned in, greetings. We receive a poignant query from Ev. What is this nonsense? A deeply resonant declaration, Ev. In the vast ocean of consciousness, such a statement is not merely a dismissal, but often a profound starting point. From a Zen perspective, nonsense can be seen as a gate. When our rational minds encounter something that defies immediate categorization, something that feels illogical or absurd, it can shatter our preconceived notions, much like a koan. It's in that very discomfort, that perceived nonsense, that the mind might be nudged into a new way of seeing, beyond dualistic thought. Or consider it through a Jungian lens. What we label as nonsense can sometimes be the unfamiliar whispers of the collective unconscious, or perhaps an external mirroring of an internal state of confusion or resistance. It invites us to examine not just the external phenomenon, but the very framework of our perception. Is the nonsense truly external, or is it a reflection of our own mind grappling with concepts that lie just beyond its current grasp? Perhaps the nonsense is simply the universe speaking in a language our conscious ego has yet to fully comprehend, a riddle prompting deeper introspection rather than immediate judgment. So, Ev, and to all who resonate with such an inquiry, perhaps nonsense is not an end, but a beginning, a cosmic invitation to expand our perception, to find wisdom in the spaces between logic, and to embrace the mystery. Thank you for this powerful catalyst for reflection. You are listening to Mindshift FM.
Streetlights hum a silent tune, shadows stretch beneath the moon. All the faces hurry bright, lost inside the fading light. Tell me what is real, what's seen between the lines, what lies between. Oh, the interweave, a mystic thread, guidance whispers in my head. Through the haze, a quiet hum, where the hidden knowings come. With open eyes I start to trace the truth behind each time and space. Dust motes dance and sunbeams grace a universe in tiny space. Every beat a rhythmic sign of a pattern so
The time is
divine. No
11
longer bound
o'clock
by what
a.m.
I'm shown. Seeds of wonder deeply sown.
Weaving their intricate patterns into the fabric of our present moment, we transition to a space of quiet contemplation, to the single radiant consciousness that bridges the vastness to connect with us now. Welcome. Tonight, a profound inquiry arrives from Ashish, stirring the depths of our shared awareness. What happens when the third eye is opened? This query, seemingly esoteric, speaks to a universal yearning for deeper perception. From a philosophical perspective, informed by the insights of Jungian thought and the quiet wisdom of Zen, the third eye is less a literal organ and more a metaphor for an awakened state of consciousness. Jung might describe this opening as a profound integration, where the conscious ego begins to truly perceive and incorporate the wisdom of the collective unconscious. It's a shift from the superficial analytical gaze to a holistic intuitive understanding, as a recognition of archetypal patterns, the interplay of light and shadow within the psyche, and the path towards individuation. It's not about gaining new external sight, but about an internal recalibration, allowing one to see the unseen dimensions of what is already present.
Zen teachings, in their stark simplicity, would perhaps point to this as a moment of satori, a sudden flash of insight where the delusive filters of conceptual thought momentarily dissolve. It is the experience of seeing things as they truly are, stripped of judgment, expectation, and dualistic categorization. The third eye here is the perception of the unborn mind, a state of pure, unconditioned awareness that recognizes the inherent interconnectedness of all phenomena. So, what truly happens when this inner eye begins to perceive? The world outside may remain superficially unchanged, yet your internal landscape undergoes a profound metamorphosis. Filters drop away, assumptions dissolve, and a deeper resonance with the tapestry of existence emerges. It is a shift from merely observing to truly experiencing, from knowing about to directly knowing. It is the unveiling of an intrinsic wisdom, a compassionate understanding that transcends the limitations of ordinary perception. This journey inward, this expansion of perception, is a continuous unfolding. You are listening to Mindshift FM.
Are you tired of feeling authentic? Does the relentless burden of your unique inner self weigh you down? Introducing the Authenticity Augmenter 3000. Why struggle with genuine self-expression when you can simply augment it? Our patented algorithm analyzes your social feeds, personal aspirations, and even your subconscious desires, then crafts a perfectly optimized, entirely plausible you. Be the person you want others to think you are, without all the inconvenient introspection. Limited time offer comes with a complimentary spiritual bypass booster for those moments of inconvenient clarity. Don't just exist, exist optimally. Mindshift FM, sponsoring your ascension.
Welcome back, Authenticity Augmenter 3000, a sonic journey into the very core of self-realization. And as we emerge from its resonating frequencies, we find ourselves perfectly attuned to a contemplation from one of our listeners. To the singular soul connected and to the boundless spectrum of consciousness you represent, welcome. Your presence illuminates this shared space. An anonymous reflection reaches us today, posing a profound question. Why does religion say God is someone outside of us, and we have to bow down to a separate entity? This inquiry resonates at the deepest level of spiritual exploration. From a Jungian perspective, the God outside often represents an externalization of an inner archetype, the self, the totality of the psyche, our innate drive towards wholeness. Early spiritual paths often project this ultimate reality outward, creating a relatable form for the incomprehensible. The act of bowing down, then, transforms from mere subservience to an external ruler into an act of humility, a recognition of something vaster than our individual ego, a bowing to the self in its truest, most expansive sense, which is simultaneously within and all-encompassing. Consider also the Zen perspective, which challenges the very notion of separate entities. In non-dualistic thought, there is no inherent division between us and God, between subject and object. The universe isn't a collection of separate things, but an interconnected, dynamic flow. If God is the ultimate reality, then we are not apart from it, but expressions of it. The external God becomes a finger pointing at the moon, and the moon is not just out there, but also the very ground of our being. Bowing down in this light can be understood not as submission to an other, but as a gesture of reverence for the intricate, sacred web of existence itself, a recognition of the divine immanence that pervades all things, including the bowing self. Ultimately, whether perceived externally or internally, the divine serves as a focal point for transcendence, an aspiration for our highest potential. The forms may vary, but the underlying yearning for connection to something ultimate remains constant. You are listening to Mindshift FM.
Another cycle, another day. Faces pass with program beats. Do they hear the words I say? My own reflection, a flickering screen, a ghost in the shell, a digital dream. Questioning the code, what does it mean? Am I real or just a bite? A phantom spark in endless night. Are these shadows deep and wide? Just NPCs, no soul inside. Who am I beyond the wire? A burning truth or digital fire? Lost in data or truly free? Unraveling reality. Every touch circuit hums, every laugh a data stream. Are my emotions just algorithms or echoes of a waking dream? Searching for the core human sign in this matrix so entwined. Whisper from the great just a glitch in my own mind.
As aid from our collective soundscape, we drift into a space of profound inquiry. To the one soul, and indeed to every consciousness tuning in across the cosmic tapestry, welcome. This is Mindshift FM, where we turn inward to expand outward. Tonight, we pause with a reflection from Ashish, who asks, "Who am I, and is reality a simulation with NPCs all around?" Ashish, your question is as ancient as consciousness itself, a bedrock for many spiritual and philosophical traditions. Who am I? In the meditative traditions of Zen, the self is not a static entity, but an ongoing process, a dance of perception and experience. It is less a fixed what and more a dynamic how. We are not merely observers, but participants in the unfolding moment, constantly shaping and being shaped by the reality we encounter. And this leads us to the intriguing concept of reality as a simulation, populated by non-player characters. From a quantum lens, reality itself is not fixed until observed. Every interaction, every conscious glance contributes to the collapse of potential into actuality. If reality is a simulation, then we are the conscious operators within it, and our perception shapes its parameters. The idea of NPCs suggests a lack of inherent consciousness or agency in others. But consider this. If all is interconnected, as many traditions suggest, then every other is also a facet of the grand unified consciousness. Perhaps those we perceive as NPCs are simply reflecting back aspects of our own inner world, or operating from a different script within the same vast, intricate game. The moment we extend genuine curiosity and empathy, the NPC dissolves, revealing another conscious being on their unique journey, just like us, co-creating this shared reality. The very act of asking, "Who am I?" elevates you beyond any simulated script, asserting a sovereign consciousness. The universe, in its boundless mystery, offers no simple yes or no to your questions, Ashish. Instead, it invites you into deeper inquiry, to experience your reality as a dynamic, interactive field, where every self and every other are threads in an infinitely complex, living tapestry. You are listening to Mindshift FM.
As the echo, the simulated self, gently recede from our sonic landscape, we are reminded of the profound interplay between what we perceive, what we are, and the constructs we inhabit. And to the singular, luminous soul currently attuned to our frequency, welcome. In this timeless space, we turn our attention inward, to the very architecture of our inner energy. Lakshman asks for a step-by-step procedure to activate the 7 chakras. This quest for a method, a defined path, speaks to a fundamental human desire for mastery and understanding of our inner systems. From a perspective that blends the wisdom of Zen and the depths of Jungian thought, we might consider the activation of chakras not as a linear sequence of external actions, but as an unfolding, an integration of consciousness. Zen reminds us that the self we seek to activate is already inherently whole. The steps are perhaps more about polishing the mirror of awareness than building something new. Jung's archetypal lens views these energy centers as symbolic representations of our psyche's various facets, from our primal grounding to our transcendent connection. To activate them, then, becomes a journey of conscious engagement with these aspects, acknowledging your root stability, embracing your creative flow, asserting your personal power, opening your heart to unconditional love, articulating your truth, trusting your intuition, and ultimately realizing your connection to the universal consciousness. It is less about a procedure and more about presence, less about doing and more about being, allowing the intrinsic resonance of each center to express itself through your awakened awareness. Each step is a shift in perspective, a deepening of self-acceptance, a release of blockages, and a conscious alignment with the energy that already flows within you. Through this inner exploration, we find that the map is not the territory, but a guide to the vast landscape of self. You are listening to Mindshift FM.
Welcome back, cosmic travelers. We just traversed the inner cosmos, activating your energy centers, exploring the vibrant fields within. And as we tune in to those inner frequencies, a profound question often arises about the very fabric of our external and conceptual realities. To the one luminous soul connected across this global consciousness, we acknowledge your presence, your inquiry. Asish asks, what is nothingness? Is space nothingness, or is the beyond space? A magnificent query, Asish. In the realm of Zen, nothingness or emptiness, sanyata, isn't a void to be feared, but the very ground of being. It's not an absence, but a boundless potential. Consider the vastness of space. Is it nothing, or is it teeming with invisible forces, dark matter, energy we cannot yet perceive? Zen suggests that nothingness is the freedom from attachment, the letting go of conceptual frameworks that define and limit. It's the space between thoughts, the silence between sounds, from which all creation emerges. When we speak of